There's a number of different pieces to keep track of in the code I expect to write for this demonstration. So first, let me give you a high-level architectural overview of the different components and how I would break this down. I'm running a web server, and this web server exposes a few endpoints that I can reach from JavaScript, including one endpoint at /API/secret recipe. If I invoke this endpoint, it will give me back the ingredients for a recipe in JSON format. I can make an HTTP request to this endpoint from Angular to get the data that I need to display on a secret recipe view. But of course, the recipe is not open to the public, it's a secret. So first I'll have to obtain an access token and authenticate the user. For authentication, the server also exposes a /login endpoint where I can post a username and password and receive back a JSON web token if the credentials are correct. This endpoint, by the way, it follows the OAuth 2 specification. That's an open standard, and there are many libraries available for all different types of server frameworks that allow you to plug in an OAuth 2 provider for your Node.js server or your ASP.NET server, just about anything. Now on the client, I expect to separate responsibilities for getting the secret recipe into a number of different components. I'm not going to show all of them here, but these are the major players. First, I want an Angular service named OAuth. This service will be dedicated and solely responsible for communicating with the login endpoint. So it will be responsible for correctly formatting the user's credentials into an HTTP request that an OAuth 2 endpoint can understand. That endpoint will send back a token when the user successfully authenticates, and when the OAuth service receives the token, it will give that token to another service that I'll call current user. It's the responsibility of the current user service to know if the user is anonymous or if they're logged in, and once they have an access token, to keep track of the user's access token. A third service, add token, is going to be a service that knows how to take the current user's access token and apply that token to an outgoing HTTP request so that we can reach the secret recipe endpoint. So lots of small, very focused pieces. Let's build them up and see how they're all going to work together.